Hi, my name's Sage, and I'm the Youth Program Coordinator here at Community Services Unlimited, and welcome to Garden Gateway's first gardening workshop of 2021. Today we're going to be focusing on the basics of working with California native plants. Now, fall and winter are the best times to plant your California native plants, and that's because the cooler temperatures and shorter days reduce the stress in the young plant. Additionally, the little bit of rainfall we do get really helps them get established, and so we want to get our plants ideally into the ground during the wet season here in LA, so that's November through March, to ensure that they're well established to endure the long hot summer ahead. And so in this video we're going to be going over 3 basics of working with California native plants. And so first we're going to be talking about the benefits of including them in your garden. Second, we're going to be talking about planning and designing your garden space. And third, we're going to be talking about actually installing the native plants into your garden. And so later on in this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to plant a California fuchsia and a Salvia apiana, or white sage. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about LADWP's turf removal program, which is actually paying Los Angeles residents to remove their lawn and replace it with California native plants. So we got a full video ahead of us. Let's jump right in. Native plants grew here long before European colonization and settlement of this land. They have co-evolved along with animals, fungi, and microbes to form a complex network of relationships. And it is those relationships that make up the very foundation of our native ecosystem. California is unique in that it is host to more than 6,000 different species, subspecies, and varieties, which means that when we're planning for a native plant garden, we have a lot of options to choose from. And so now we're going to go into why we should plant native plants. Being adapted to our soil, climate, and drought, California native plants are a beautiful, sustainable, and environmentally friendly choice for California gardens. Once established, they require minimal irrigation and on average use about 1/7 of the amount of water as non-native plants. Saving water conserves a vital, limited resource, and it saves money too. Because they have co-evolved with native wildlife, native plants typically have fewer pest problems than non-native plants. Since most pesticides kill indiscriminately, helpful insects become secondary targets of pesticides. So reducing or eliminating pesticide use lets natural pest control take over and keeps garden toxins out of our creeks and watersheds. Native plants like lean, nutrient-poor soil and do not require fertilizer or soil amendments. Also, most native plants are commercially grown within our state, and they travel very little to reach your nursery. Think about this. Only 10% of herbivorous insects can eat non-native plants, and insects make up 90% of a baby bird's diet, which means native plants are an essential part of any healthy, stable bird habitat. As development replaces natural habitats, planting gardens, parks, and roadsides with California native plants can help provide an important bridge to nearby remaining wildlands. Research shows that native wildlife clearly prefers native plants, and California's rich variety of insect pollinators can help fruit set in your garden. A variety of native insects and birds can help keep your garden free of mosquito and plant-eating bugs. Native plants are so beautiful. With all their different colors, forms, textures, and aromas, they are an amazing addition to any growing space. And with good design, your garden can have flowering plants all year round. Now that we've gone over some of the benefits of California native plants, we're going to talk about planning your garden space. So just like planning any garden space, your first step should be to really analyze and understand the space that you're working with. And so that means really understanding what kind of soil you have. Is it more clay-like or is it more sandy? Figuring out how much sunlight your space gets. This could mean visiting the space at different times of the day to see how the sun travels through your garden space, and really having a good understanding of how big your space is so you know how many plants you can actually accommodate in whatever growing situation you have. You should also really be thinking about your objectives with your space. Are you hoping to have a lot of shade? Are you hoping to have plants that have culinary benefits or medicinal healing, or a very aromatic garden, or just like a really beautiful flowering garden? These are really important when thinking about what plants you're going to select to put in your space. If you want a drought-tolerant California native garden, you have to understand that a lot of the plants that have adjusted to this type of living have certain characteristics. Many low-use water plants go semi-dormant to fully dormant during the summer, which can be kind of visually shocking and unsettling for folks who aren't accustomed to what California native plants look like during dormancy. And so if this is your first time planting with native plants, be sure to research what your plants look like all year round so you know what you're getting yourself into, so you're prepared for the care they need throughout not only the winter and spring, but also into the summer and fall. I highly suggest drawing a site plan of your garden, and when planning out where you're going to put your plants, drawing them at the size they are when they are fully mature. This is because a super common mistake for folks who are just starting to plant native California plants is to overplant. So like you can see here, this sage, this white sage, is really small, but looks are really deceiving because we know that white sage, once established, will grow out of control. And so it can be really tempting to buy 5 white sages and put them in a clump in the corner of your garden, but we want to make sure that our plants have enough room to grow as much as they can and fully established. So definitely be sure when you're thinking about your garden space that you're thinking about plants, not how they look now, but how they're gonna look in 3 years once they're fully established. And with that in mind, you can create a plan for your garden. So layering larger plants along the perimeter, along any walls or fences, medium plants, and then smaller plants along walkways. It's time to get planting. So now we're going to get this California fuchsia and white sage into the ground. Let's get started. So the first step in our process is to clear out whatever space it is you're going to be using. So we're going to be using this bed right here. And so clearing out just means removing any weeds that are left or any old plants that you no longer want in that space. If you do have lawn, you're going to need to take out all of that turf. To really be effective about that, that's going to be about a 2-month process if you're really trying to get everything out. And a really great cost-effective way to do that is sheet mulching. So we recommend checking out our sheet mulching video for all the tips and tricks on that. The best time to plant is going to be directly after a rain so that the ground will still be wet, because that encourages root growth and makes the digging process a lot easier. But if it hasn't rained recently, we definitely recommend watering that ground 2 to 3 days before you plan on planting to ensure that it at least has some of that moisture. So in this area, we're going to put our California fuchsia. We chose the California fuchsia for this spot because it won't grow super big. It's one of the smaller plants and it has beautiful red blossoms that are going to attract a lot of awesome pollinators, and we have a lot of food growing in this area, so we're hoping that they're going to spread the love. So we're going to start digging the hole. What we want is about a width double this container and about ½ inch as deep. Because it hasn't rained in a couple days, we're going to actually fill the hole with water to ensure that when this fuchsia goes in the ground, it's going to be in really like moist and welcoming soil. And so depending on how dry your soil is, you might have to fill the hole with water like 2 to 3 times. You're just going to gauge it by, of course, like touching the soil. Just like with any seedling, we're going to take it out of its container. It is a little bit root locked, so it's good we're getting it in the ground now. Just going to loosen up those roots a little bit and go ahead and put it down. So this hole was perfect. It's double the size and looks great. But we just want to make sure that the crown of our plant is still sticking out. I'm gonna make a little circle here and tuck it in. A new plant is gonna need 4 to 5 gallons of water. So I'm gonna take this little hose and keep it on a nice consistent drip and just leave it here for a while to make sure that this plant really gets all the water it needs so it can get established. Adding in the mulch. We need to add a good layer of mulch so that we maintain moisture in the soil, stop some evaporation. It's really good for plants to have a nice layer of mulch. With native plants, it's nice to put like a rock or a piece of wood on their southwestern side to protect them from the elements. And now we have our salvia. We're gonna take it out of its container. You see, loosen the roots up just a little bit. We're gonna be gentle. Take it, put it down in here. We like to call this part tucking them into bed, making sure they're nice and comfortable. Now we're gonna give it some water. I like keeping it on a low drip so we don't overwhelm the plant too much and the soil has time to process it. Some mulch, surround the plant, make sure we trap all that moisture. Final step in installing your native plants is patience. The kind of usual establishment period for California native plants is about 1 to 3 years. Sages and grasses will establish and develop more quickly than others, but for the most part they are a gradual and slow growing bunch. So although you might not be seeing a lot of growth above ground, what's happening is underground their roots are expanding, developing, and really establishing themselves. So just be patient with your plants. Remember this saying, the first year they sleep, the second year they creep, and the third year they leap. We hope that this introduction to native plants was helpful and inspiring. If you do feel motivated to change your growing space into a full California native plant garden, then you are in luck, because right now the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power is offering a turf removal program where they are paying LA County residents $3 for every square feet of lawn that you take out. This is a really amazing opportunity to transform your garden from this to this. So right now, during the winter and spring of 2021, CSU is offering support in navigating the various LADWP rebate programs. So if you navigate to our website and you go under Green Savings Program, you'll find all the information you need to get started in the process, and we'll be here every step of the way to support you. Thanks for tuning in to our latest Garden Gateway workshop. In a couple weeks, we're going to be having our free material giveaway where we will be giving away a bunch of California native plants courtesy of Community Nature Connection. So be sure to RSVP for the Garden Gateway season and register for that event. You can check out our website under the Garden Gateway tab to make sure that you're RSVP'd to receive all updates via email. If you have planted any California native plants in your garden, go ahead, post a picture on Instagram, tag us. We want to see your garden. We want to see how you've transformed your space. And if you don't already follow us on Facebook and Instagram, you should check us out at CSU Inc. We are posting about upcoming workshops, when videos get posted, and free material giveaway events. So you definitely want to check that out. Please like this video, subscribe to our channel. We come out with new content every month. So thank you so much for tuning in, and stay safe.